What's up guys, Roddy here, and today we're going to talk about 1 month with this guy, the brand new Pixel 8 Pro. So, let's go. So as you guys know, I've been rocking the Pixel 8 Pro now for 1 month, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about why this phone is probably one of the most hated phones every year. It's always riddled with controversy for whatever reason. Not really sure why it's always the Pixel, but I want to talk about some of those things. I want to talk about what it's been like to use this phone for 30 days, my take on it, everything from performance to battery life to the cameras, you name it, we're going to talk about today. But before we do all of that, make sure you jump down there and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you have, you are awesome. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting very, very close. And I would just really appreciate if you guys would help me get there. Like this video, comment below. What do you think about the brand new Pixel 8 Pro? Is it just a small iteration of the older devices? Is it enough for you to upgrade from a 7 to an 8? Let me know in the comments what you think about Pixel so far, and we'll get right into it. So first things first, we have to talk about design. And to me, yet again, like I've always said in the past, Pixel gives us one of my favorite designs out of any device that's out there. I absolutely love symmetry, and Pixel pushes the envelope when it comes to getting a device that's extremely symmetrical, that's really, really nice, it's really, really beautiful, that's very elegant, and I think they did a very good job with that this year. I can't stand cameras being shoved over into a corner, and Pixel gives you this awesome camera bar. Now I know there's some people out there that don't really like it, but I'd much rather have the cameras across the center, have this visor, have this camera bar, than having them all shoved into one side and you put them on a table and they rock around. Yeah, you can throw them on a case, but even when you throw the Pixel in a case, it gets even better because usually the case fills in the back where this ledge is, so then you have a completely flat back, which I like even more. Adding to that, you get these really nice rounded corners all the way around. Google's went really forward thinking on this because these are some of the roundest, smoothest, nicest corners out there. They have given us a flat panel now. We have a flat screen. Thank you, Google, for listening to us. They went even further to listen and gave us a matte finish on the 8 Pro. Sorry, Pixel 8 people, you don't get that. But overall, I think this looks really, really good. I'd heard that like their chief designer came from like jewelry and designing jewelry, and I can see that because to me, this is a beautiful phone no matter what color you get. But overall, design-wise, I think, again, Pixel has one of the best looking phones that's out there. The next thing we have to talk about with this guy is the performance. And personally, I think, again, Google did a lot of good stuff here. Yes, you have Tensor G3. We'll get to that in a minute. But we're going to talk about battery life and cameras because there's not a ton to say here other than, yes, the battery life has been better. Now, when I had my 7 Pro, it was decent with battery. It was definitely a little bit better than the 6 Pro. There wasn't a big leap there. But for me, with this device, I have noticed that Google has really learned how to optimize their phones. So like the first or second day that I got it, I got 9 hours screen on time and I still had some battery life left. Now it was like at 16%, still it was going to make 10 hours. I was just tired, went to bed, plopped it on the charger, good to go. Now that was on Wi-Fi all day long. I didn't leave my home. I was at home all day. It was a Sunday. I was chilling, no big deal. Outside of the house, when I'm jumping on 5G and I'm running around, I'm in and out of Wi-Fi, on and off of Bluetooth, etc., etc., and it's having to do a lot more work with me moving around, I'm still getting close to 5 and 6 hours screen on time with this. And I think for a modern day smartphone, that is acceptable. Battery life here, I'd say, is probably 30, maybe even 40% better than it was on the Pixel 7 Pro. That being said, This new screen is also very, very good. It's fantastic. It's a lot brighter. It's a lot crisper. I can just tell that when I'm viewing stuff on here, it's a lot more pleasing to look at. I can also tell you that Google is one of the best when it comes to haptics and typing on a Pixel device. I said the same about the Fold, and it carries over to this device. It feels so nice and so good. You throw that in there with Google's ability to autocorrect and to voice text and all that kind of stuff, and it just makes typing on this phone fantastic. But we have to talk about the cameras, and it's a Pixel. I think Google has continued their progress in being one of the best camera phones you can buy. By far, by leaps and bounds. The hype is real. When it comes to mobile photography, there is no other better phone doing it like Pixel. There might be some phones that can zoom further than Pixel, but the zoom quality on the Pixel is going to be better. So when you go, this phone will go up to 5x now. When you go to 5x zoom on the Pixel, the quality is just better. Your colors are more pleasing. It's not super blown out, too much contrast. It's you know, you don't get overexposure. You get less noise. This phone has just been super good. And then we just recently got a camera update, and they're even better. I just see a lot more pleasing shots. Now, I felt Google was a little too safe when it came to the photos they're taking, but now I feel like these photos that are coming out of this camera are just really, really pleasing. They've got this almost artistic flair to it that it just doesn't look like it's from a phone anymore. And it's just really it just checks all the boxes when it comes to photography. Besides that, video quality has also gotten really, really good on the Pixel. Now, it's still not quite as good as iPhone, but in certain scenarios, they kind of go back and forth, which means Pixel and Google have made such a huge leap forward in their mobile photography and videography that I wouldn't be surprised if Apple doesn't do something soon. Google catches up to them and they are neck and neck even. And if they don't change after that, I would say you could see 2 or 3 Pixels later, you could see video quality as good as an iPhone or better. I definitely think that I enjoy shooting video more on this device than I would say on past Pixels or even past Samsung. So if you've got an older Samsung and you're thinking about getting a new Pixel, I would say this is shooting better video than something like an S21 Ultra or older. Definitely better than like a Z Fold or even the smaller S23s, S23 Pluses. That being said, this phone is also priced very, very aggressive. Even though they went up a little bit on it, still $1,000. And if you've got something to trade in, you're not paying that. And I think that's a great deal on this phone. And with that, I want to move into the performance because that talks about a little bit of the specs that are on the inside. Now, you guys know I'm not a big spec person, but I can always tell you that certain specs need to be mentioned. And this is a base model. This is 128 gigs. And I can tell you that I'm typically somebody that sits around 80 to 100 gigs worth of space with a phone after I've used it for a while. I think I'm at about 75 gigs on my S23 Ultra, and I've had that since February. So that does make me a little concerned about using the Pixel long term. If you're someone like me who's a power user that takes a lot of pictures, saves a lot of files, doesn't like to go through and clean a lot of stuff out, likes to keep a lot of stuff on your phone, has a lot of apps going on, I think Google should definitely kill the 128 gigs after this year. I think this is it. This is as far as you can go. It's unacceptable after this. I definitely think that they need to go ahead and start making 256 their benchmark for sure. Nothing else less. And I hope that they do that and don't increase the price, because if this phone gets into that $1,100, $1,200 mark, I feel like a lot of people are going to not see it as attractive as they've seen it in the past. you haven't heard or you hadn't seen any of the other reviews out there, there's a lot of people that have talked some smack about this phone. People saying it's got problems, people talking about Tensor G3 or just Tensor in general, and that Google should move over to Snapdragon and this, that, and the other. And look, I get it. Having your own chipset in-house means you can do a lot of R&D. You can make this a really personalized phone for your company and your buyer and the people you're trying to reach. But I can tell you, as someone who is a power-hungry user, someone that's running multiple apps throughout the day, that's any given chance at random may double hit this power button and get ready to take a photo. Just scrolling a lot on Twitter and having apps in the background open, all this kind of stuff just means that for me, I have seen a little bit of those cracks in this Tensor G3. Now, before I go any further, because I'm going to give you examples, all of these don't necessarily have to do anything with this chipset. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. It could easily be a spur of the moment, Wi-Fi was not very good, or cell reception wasn't very good, or it's the app, or it's the user. I mean, it could be really anything that's going on here. But I can tell you that there have been just slight little things that have popped up that were kind of annoyances, and I just kind of moved on and just brushed them off because I was trying to give Pixel a chance. I really want Google to succeed because, like I said, best looking phone, best cameras, one of the best looking softwares that you can get out there, all of the AI features. This is a really true smartphone. It is actually smart, and even down to the customizations and stuff that you can do here, Pixel just gives you so much to love. But if you're someone like me who aesthetics is up at the top, and then cameras, and then power, if those are your top three things, Pixel checks 2 of those 3 boxes, and that power box is the one that I've really ran into some issues. So I'm going to get into some of those. I can tell you, when I first set this phone up, I didn't have the thermal issues that a lot of people talked about. This phone getting hot and getting warm and overheating, and I don't think this phone's overheating. I do think this phone might get a little warm. That could be to do with the chipset. That could just be poor thermal management from Google, whatever. But I have not really noticed it get warm. Maybe once or twice it might have gotten a little warm, but typically it's when it's downloading an app or uploading something, or I'm setting something up or whatever. It's doing a pretty heavy task. And I've seen that on other devices, so I've kind of overlooked that. I have never had the woes of Android Twitter that a lot of people have talked about, but with all of my Pixel devices, the Fold and this phone, I get that kind of jerky, laggy, strange scrolling. Now, I can scroll really fast and it scrolls, but it's like when it starts to slow down, I see these jitters, and I've got a video of it up on Twitter if you want to go see that. But it wasn't just in Twitter. It happened in TikTok. It happened in Facebook. And then there's those apps, when I have them open, there are those case scenarios where it seems like it's loading and it takes a little longer to load those apps. And then I've seen times where, like, I was on Facebook and it looked like it was loading, and I just pushed up to see if I could maybe like force it to load. And then it was actually there, even though I was getting the animation that it was loading. Again, could be the app, could be the Wi-Fi I'm on or whatever, but I'm not seeing it on other devices. And I'd actually pick up another device, scroll on it, and see what was going on. Not seeing it on Apple, not seeing it on Samsung, not seeing it on the Nothing phone. And there's times where the Fold wouldn't do it and this would. So all of that to say, I've had other issues where this was plugged into my Android Auto and I just picked it up off of my mount. It's not even, it's not even on like a wireless charger or anything. I just picked it up to take a picture, and I double clicked the power button to pull the camera up, and it was just a black screen. And I've just had small little things like that consistently happen over and over again. And I'm not saying any of that discredits this device. I think this device is fine for an average user. I think this device is actually built for someone who enjoys the aesthetics of the hardware here and enjoys how beautiful and graceful and smooth and enjoyable this UI is. But it's not meant for somebody that's just randomly firing anything and everything at this that's got, you know, 200 apps or whatever I've got in the background, and I've got, you know, 14 different pages, you know, different things that are open, and you know, I'm throwing a lot at these phones, way more than you should, and I shouldn't probably expect as much as I do, but I'm just saying that for someone like me, I have seen the cracks here, and I have seen that Tensor G2 really had them, so much so that I didn't even review the Pixel 7, I just returned it. And I don't want to talk bad about it, but I do want to talk about that because I think it's getting better. I know they're promising 7 years of upgrades, and that's great and that's fine. And I think this phone is good for 2.5, 3 years. So if you're locked into a contract or taking some, you know, carrier deal or whatever to save a little money, I think 90% of the people out there don't use their phone like me, and they'll be fine with it. I think if you're looking for the best camera, you're looking for one of the best feeling phones in the hand, you're looking for great screen, you're looking for some of the smoothest, prettiest, smartest software that's out there, all of that rolled into that, you should be able to overlook those things. And I don't discredit Google for using the cloud to do it. I don't think that takes away from this phone, and I don't think it credits this phone that say it has problems. I don't even discount this phone for the lack of power that I've seen from it. So that being said, do I recommend the Pixel 8 Pro? Absolutely. I would actually recommend this to anyone that's coming from an iPhone, wanting to try Android out. If someone asked me right now, just an average person said, what phone do you think I should get if I don't want an iPhone? It's going to be, without a doubt, the Pixel 8 Pro. I just think that it's such a good, easy to use phone. I think what Google is doing now with their software is actually easier to use than an iPhone. Reliable cameras, great software updates, super pretty, good looking hardware. You just can't really go wrong with it. And I'm going to go as far as to say I would even recommend the Pixel 8 Pro over a Samsung device, just for the simple fact that I think this device is more consistent and gives you a more pleasing, better user experience with its software and its hardware. So take that for what it's worth. Thank you guys so much. I know it was a little bit longer review, but I wanted to throw this out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and we will see you next time.